Face your dragons, or they will consume you. Friends and grasshoppers, this is episode 99 of the Formless podcast with Tyler, the superhuman, and me, Dustin.
How we doing?
I'm amazing. I'm great today. Today is awesome. We are in a different location. We're at my domicile, the Madhouse, whatever you want to call it, Salsy House. It just worked out a little bit different this week.
And that's just, that's how it worked out.
We're at my house, which is northwest of the school by 12 or so miles, 15 miles, something like that.
Even kind of further north, Northern California.
Even further north. We're in the foothills now.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've ever been to your house.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
That was wild.
To come here and get the tour and see
the chickens and the dog and
the garden, the property, the house, the everything.
The jungle gym.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Pit.
Yeah. It's peaceful out here. It's chaos, but it's good times. It's good times. What's new, man?
Well, so really soon my movie's going to come out on streaming services.
We're like right there.
Right there.
You can see that finish line.
Right there. I'm telling you, it's a matter of days now.
Yeah.
That it's coming out. And we'll make the announcement where it's at on the podcast. But it'll go to streaming services, then you can buy the DVD. And those streaming services are going to be like the TVOD, which stands for Transactional Video on Demand. So that's like your Amazons where you buy the movie like digitally.
Oh, okay.
Your iTunes, your Google Plays.
Yeah, where it's like $3.95 or $5.95 or whatever.
Yeah.
Video on demand.
It's a transaction video on demand. So you're paying and then you're getting the movie, like you're buying the movie or renting it. Right. Or you'll be able to go online and buy the DVD too. So that'll be cool.
Very cool.
There's a lot of special features making of the movie that we have on the DVD. Luke did a great job editing. The special features on the DVD are actually longer, I think, than the actual movie. Yeah. He did a great job, and it just turned out fantastic. And so, so we're days away from the streaming release.
Very cool.
Of the movie.
Very, very cool.
So, and just as like a reminder, Dustin is in the movie.
So's my wife.
And Brighton. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a cameo.
Yeah,
make a cameo appearance.
Yeah, and in a way, you guys kind of get like a close up in the movie.
Yeah, actually, we do. So you have to look for that when you watch it. I thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. So, we're pretty excited about that, and so we've got the movie coming out, and then we're also coinciding the movie coming out, like the film, with the release of the Miracle Mile original score. And the Miracle Mile motion picture soundtrack. So the score is like the
introductory music and the exit music kind of.
That's one way of putting it. Like Indiana Jones, right? The dun 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 dun.
Oh, okay.
Dun,
the
dun,
orchestration.
That's the score. That's score. That's like a music that's crafted specifically
for the film.
For the film, for action scenes, for scary scenes, for whatever. And then the soundtrack is songs that either previously existed or, in our case, some were made for the film. And so then those are like songs with words that then are put into the film in specific places.
Like when they turn the radio on or when...
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's like a driving scene where a specific song comes on and it's like this really poppy, upbeat, happy, kind of funny song with a guy singing in it. And it's called Gimme 5 by Logan Hill. And it's really good and it's really fun and it's in a great scene. So the soundtrack has actually 11 songs on it, or I should say 11 tracks, that some songs existed before the film was made and some were made for the film. And then that's separate. So the soundtrack is one thing. The score is then like the emotional music that was crafted by our two composers for specific scenes.
Okay. Very
so
cool.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that totally, I follow.
So we've got the movie coming out, Miracle Mile. We've got the Miracle Mile score coming out and the Miracle Mile soundtrack coming out. So we've got 3 things available.
Right on. That's awesome.
It was very ambitious for the first movie that I produced. A lot of people would do one or the other, the soundtrack or the score.
Not both.
And we did both.
Well, it's like,
very ambitious.
Yeah, it's ambitious, but it's also kind of like, if you're going to do something, you might as well go for it, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like why, I don't want to say limit yourself, but why deny yourself that chance? At least then you can say, hey, I did it. Yeah, I failed, or I didn't fail, or it didn't do as well as I wanted, or whatever. You can say whatever you want, but hey, I did it. Not many people can say I did it. Lots of people say I wish I did.
I wish I should have done it this way.
Yeah.
I could have done it and I would have done a really good job. Okay, then why didn't you do it?
Exactly.
So, yeah, and that was kind of like one of those things where when it was suggested to me that we knew we were going to do a score. And then when we came up, actually the co-producer on the film, Michael Flanagan, he came up with the idea of doing the soundtrack, and he wanted to produce the soundtrack, meaning he would go out there and find the artists with the currently existing songs, or he would go find artists that would be able to do songs, create songs for the film. And so he came to me and he's like, well, why don't we have a soundtrack? There's some spots in the films where we can put songs, especially when they're listening to the radio, right?
Yeah.
So these are songs that are on the radio in the film. And I was just like, first I was like,
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that sounds like more work. And now I'm looking back at it and I'm like, nope, I'm glad we did that. Yeah. I am so glad, because there was no point in this film that we didn't just go all out. It was like, what can we do to make, like, with what we have, the resources we have, the budget we have, the reach we have, like, how can we make this to where 20 years from now, I'll look back and be like, we did everything we could.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
That's cool. That's really, really cool, man. It's awesome.
The older I get, I'm going to be 40 years old this year. And the older I get, the more I put myself in my shoes when I'm going to be 60, turning 60. And I'm going to be like, what would 59-and-a-half-year-old Tyler
want to say
to 39-and-a-half-year-old Tyler? Like, I'm looking.
You should have put that soundtrack in the movie.
Yeah. Or you should have. You should have started doing this. You should have started doing that, because I can remember 20 years ago where when I was 19, turning 20, and I can remember it like yesterday, like a lot of us can, right? You get older and you can just remember 10 years, 20 years like it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, if I only had 5 minutes to go back in time and talk to 19-year-old Tyler, like 5 minutes.
Smack him around a bit.
Well, I mean, maybe, but like, I would just be like, just 5 minutes. That's all I'd need, just to be like, hey, do this, don't do this. Don't do that. Okay, maybe, that's an okay thing, but like, and then do this, avoid that. And just like, these things are going to be your time wasters. These things are going to really help you out down the road. Like, just 5 minutes, I don't know. Hopefully my 19-year-old self would listen to me.
Yeah. That would probably be the biggest challenge. Getting 19-year-old self to listen.
I mean, and then you could also say, well, if a 59-year-old Tyler walked through that door right there, right now, would I listen to him? I would now. I'd be like, and as long as I verified it was him.
Yeah, wait a minute. How do I know it's you?
Yeah, so.
That Matthew McConaughey gave a speech. Have you heard that about who his hero was?
No, maybe.
It's really, really good. He talks about his hero when he was a kid was himself in like 10 years.
Ooh.
And then when he got there in 10 years, his hero is himself in another 10 years. And so he never meets his hero, but he's always chasing him.
Oh.
And the idea is that like anything that he wants to go after, whatever dream, whatever thing, it was like, that's the goal. That's where I want to be in 10 years. That's where I want to see myself in 10 years. So he's always like chasing something. Pretty cool. He's not just the all right guy, pretty interesting dude. And his book that he did, I don't know.
Green Lights.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got a ghostwriter for that or not, but that was pretty cool book. My wife and I really liked that.
I haven't finished the whole thing, but I've read most of it.
But I'll have to find that and send it to you. It's really, really inspirational.
And it's a video.
Yeah, it's just like I found it on, I don't know if I found it on YouTube or what, but I saw it a few years back. But it was just one of these things where he's like, I don't know if he's at like an award speech or somewhere. He's standing up. He's got a microphone at a podium or something, and he's talking about his hero. And I want to say it was like an Academy Award or something like that, and he's just talking about how it's him in 10 years. And it's always like him in 5 or 10 years. And how like that, he doesn't want to look back and say, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I should have done that. I should have done, X, Y, and Z, but instead I did this.
I mean, look at us making the decision to say, hey, let's just start this podcast.
Yeah.
Episode 99. Here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking before we started recording about different stuff, about just that keep going, perseverance kind of thing. And like how we got our black belts, but there were times in training where you're like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe I'm getting bored with this, or maybe I should just quit, and I don't know where you were when that feeling happened, if it only happened one time or multiple times, but for me, it was like, I think I've said this before, but it was right around my purple belt. We're doing some stuff in there that I just didn't get. I didn't understand. And for me to like do stuff, I'm pretty hard-headed. Like I have to understand the how and the why and the when for me to be like on board. Like I gotta figure, like I gotta know
the why.
I gotta know the nuts and bolts of it. Yeah. And I had different people explaining it to me, and I asking questions and stuff, and it didn't make sense. And so I was getting kind of frustrated with it. And actually at that point was kind of debating on whether or not to keep going. But I really enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the camaraderie, I enjoyed the training. I enjoyed all of that. But when it got time to doing like the set work for that and the stuff, I was just like, can we work on something else? It just didn't jive. And now, looking back at it now, I was like, well, it's good.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't just walk away, which would have been fairly easy to do. Mm-hmm. There probably would have been a few phone calls that would have came my way, but I'm glad I didn't.
Dustin, where are
yeah,
you?
Yeah, how come you haven't been in class, man? What's going on? But yeah, it's there's so many things like that in life. I mean, we've done that here. There's been multiple times peaks and valleys where like things are going smooth and then something happens and we don't get to record or like, okay, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? What's going to make this interesting, you know? And when we finally get through whatever mire we're trotting through, excuse me, I always kind of look back on the other side of that and be like, man, I'm glad we didn't quit. I'm glad like we kept going.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just the last episode, we did that whole thing, which was really fun and everything, but like I didn't record any of the video, and I'm like, oh, dang it, you know, and you like personally, I think like, okay, I've learned my lesson, right? Like, oh, I'm not going to do that mistake again, right? I'm going to have all my ducks in a row. I'm going to like have everything all lined out and it's going to look professional and I won't fall on my face. And then I turn around and fall on my face. And you're like, dang, what happened? You know? Yeah. And it happens. You know, we're only human.
What? And it's a similar quote as, what is it? It's Rocky quote or something where it doesn't matter how hard you get hit. It's like, if you get back up, that's a famous quote.
Yeah. That's from the Rocky franchise.
Yeah. It's kind of similar.
It ain't how hard you get hit. It's, or how many times you get hit.
Yeah. It ain't how hard you can hit or something. It's about you getting back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's similar. Like you were saying, well, I slip and fall on my face, but it's like, can you get back up?
So yesterday, Hunter graduated high school.
Yeah.
And so
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Good job, Hunter.
He was a valedictorian. And so he got to give a speech and stuff. And he'd never really given a speech in front of people. Like, not that many. There were quite a few there. Probably
like 50.
Oh, no. Probably 200-ish.
Oh, nice. Okay.
250, give or take. It was a good sized crowd.
For 10.
There were 10 high school students and 3 8th graders graduating. So 13 kids, all of their family, and then all of the school district or homeschool group, all of the administrators and all of that, all of those people were there. And then friends and family and, you know, all that stuff. So he was a little nervous and I'm like, hey man, don't worry about it. Just don't look anybody in the eye. Look at the tops of their heads, you know, take a breath, breathe and go. He did great. Was it recorded? I recorded it. Mom recorded it. Multiple people recorded it. So I'll share it with you. But yeah, he did a good job. He talked about martial arts. He talked about stories and, he did this thing about books that was really cool. How, you know, everybody kind of remembers the beginning of the book or remembers the end of the book. But a lot of times it's what happens in the middle that makes the story.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
You know, like sometimes you have hard things happen and you think that hard thing is the whole world. And then you get through it and you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't so bad. And you have a couple things happen, good things or even worse things happen. And you're like, oh, you know, but you realize that that's not the end of the story. It was a really well done analogy. It was really cool.
And that was all in his speech.
All of that. Yeah.
And where did he get that from?
I want to say he wrote the whole thing. Like, I don't know that he got that particularly from anybody. I haven't really talked to him about it.
Oh man, I kind of like, as a storyteller, I want to talk to him and be like, Hunter, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Like, did you read that in a book, or did you realize that? Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna ask him that.
You should. You
like,
should.
Sensei,
I
teach me.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Because they always say for writing a movie, in a lot of the screenwriting books I've read, they say that writing a script, the second act, which is the middle part of the film, that's the hardest usually to write. But that's the most crucial because that's where everything happens.
Yeah. That's
where
interesting. The guts of it are, right?
They call it the meat and potatoes, the main course, that type of thing. So anyway,
That's
so
cool.
Hunter,
yeah, so he graduated, and that's wild. I mean, he's 18, graduated high school. It's crazy. Valedictorian, which I was nowhere near. Nobody that I know of in my family was even close to anything like that. Nobody in my wife's side of the family, as far as I know, close to anything like that, Wow. Yeah, so it was pretty cool event. And then the week before that, 2 weeks before that, my wife graduated college. She got her bachelor's degree. She just finished her final. It's a long story. She finished at Simpson, but she had to take like 2 classes at Shasta to meet all the requirements. So she got to go through the procedure and graduate, but it was conditional. Thank you. Conditional on her grades at Shasta, finishing up at Shasta College. So she did that. She literally finished her final last Wednesday.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So she's all done with that. So we got a cool break for a few months till August when she starts back up
to do those 2 classes.
To do this for another degree for her master's program.
What? I must have missed it. So she
got her bachelor's, but see, she finished her. It's hard. It's hard as a simpleton. I don't know all the fine details here. So, the program she started at Simpson College, it needed, like, she had to do some extra classes. There was like 2 extra classes. Now she could have done it at Simpson College, which would have been more expensive, or she could do it at Shasta College, which much cheaper. It's a junior college or community college. So she did all of the stuff that was required at Simpson that she could do. And then these last 2 classes at Shasta were for her bachelor's degree. But because their schedules aren't the same.
Right. Okay.
Simpson College graduates, and she still had like 3 or 4 more weeks of Shasta College.
Oh, got to finish up those 2 classes.
To get the degree.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So she gets a diploma with a letter in it that says, you will have your diploma in 6 to 8 weeks after we get your final grades from Shasta College for these 2 courses.
Wow, that's cool.
But yeah, so that's all done and out of the way. And now she's got summer break and then right back into it at Simpson again for her master's program.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
You're married to someone who's going to have a master's degree.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's
good job, Brighton.
Yeah, it's awesome. But along the same lines of all of that, like, there have been times where she's been going through that. She's like, I don't know if this is worth it. I don't know. It's too expensive. I got to do this. I got to do that, And it's, how bad do you want it? Is this going to be all worth it for you? And she's an amazing student. She's gotten straight A's. I think she got a B. So I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just trying to be honest here. But there's been a couple of times where, the kids are fighting, or dad's got issues that he needs help with, or I'm quitting a job or, all of these things. She's, maybe I should quit. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should, blah, blah, blah. And she's persevered and just kept going.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
That's crazy. That's
yeah.
cool.
I don't know. I always look at things like that. Like when you come across challenges, as like life or God or, whatever you believe in puts these roadblocks in your path. Like when you're making this movie, there's times where it's got to be super hard. People are fighting. You're running out of money. You're who knows? There's all sorts of problems. Problems I don't even know exist. But you have to go, okay, how bad do I want this? And is it bad enough to deal with this problem? Right? Like, can I work through this problem, or is it going to make me quit? Sometimes that problem's too big and you're like, maybe we'll come back to this in another time. We'll just table this one right now. Excuse me. Other times, just put your head down and go to work, I don't know if there's some grand scheme to that, but that's the way I look at things. Like, okay, if this is something I want, am I willing to deal with this problem, this issue, or whatever that case may be?
That's good.
I don't know.
That's good.
I don't know. That's just some bonehead philosophy.
No, that's not bonehead. That's good. I'm digesting it. That's good.
Yeah. But anyway, so she persevered and made it through, and it was really cool. It was really cool, and it was neat. So she wasn't even going to walk. She was just like, I don't want to do all of that. It's too much work. It's too much. I'm too old. There's just a bunch of kids there and blah, blah, blah. And that's what she was originally thinking. And so it's funny because we were supposed to record 98 that Saturday. And she came up to me and she's like, I'm not going to walk. Don't worry about it. We're going to it's just another Saturday. And I'm like, okay, if you say that, I'm going to plan my Saturday out. So, because that means it's open. So I'm going to do a podcast, and I've got Jonathan on, and he's from Israel. It's not like I can just call him up and be like, hey dude, next week we'll just postpone. And she's like, no, it's totally fine. No dancing. That's our code word for I'm not sugarcoating anything, or I'm not saying anything to spare your feelings. No dancing. We're not dancing around this. Okay. All right. So I went ahead and we planned it and scheduled everything out. And I don't remember if it was the Thursday or the Friday before Saturday. She calls me at work and she's like, I'm so sorry, but my academic advisor convinced me to walk. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll make all the adjustments that I need to make to do this. So I called you and was like, hey, we can't do it, which was fine because I think you had something else going on anyway.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And then I emailed Jonathan and I'm like, this big, long email like, hey, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but my wife's graduating. She wasn't going to walk. Now she's walking and it's a huge ceremony and I can't record the podcast because it's at the same time. And there's a 10-hour difference between California and Israel.
Right.
And to coordinate everything, somebody's going to have to wake up at 3:00 in the morning to do a podcast. And I don't want to do that. And I don't think you want to do that. So let's just make it next week. And he was like, no problem. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm married too.
He was very understanding.
Yeah, which thanks to him. So it went off without a hitch. And it was good. And then
2 graduates in a month, less than a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
2 weeks or something.
It's crazy. Absolutely bananas. There's an even funnier story behind that. So I have been on the job hunt a little bit. So I left working at my previous job selling soda, slinging sugar, and I got another job in the meantime, and it's great company, great people. Frozen Gourmet, shout out to them. All of the savages that work in the warehouse there, shout out to you dudes. But it's just not enough to like maintain everything. And plus I'm 45 years old in a freezer slinging ice cream and pizzas and ice and frozen beef and whatever else we got. So I'm kind of on the job hunt for something a little bit more my speed and my wheelhouse. And I had an interview the week before Brighton graduates, right? And it went pretty well. My neighbor and past guest, Quinn, recommended me for the job. He works at this company. So I go to the interview and meet two of the ladies there. They interview me. It's only supposed to be like 20 minutes. It goes for an hour, I think, hour and some change. So, you know, it was good. And everything's cool. That Saturday, you know, I was excited. They seemed like they were excited to meet me, and everything's going good. I thought it was a good interview. That was Wednesday. Maybe Thursday. Friday, Brighton had... No, I'm sorry. It was a Friday because I took Friday off of work to do the interview and do a couple other things. Brighton had to run out to the school. I did the interview, come home, take her to the school. They do like a luncheon. They have the practice, graduation practice and stuff. Well, I had to come back and give her cap and gown because they had a commencement ceremony or something. I'm not too highbrow, so I don't know all of the names of the things, but like the president of the school or the dean of the school was talking, had a couple other people. They didn't get any kind of diploma, but they had to dress up and go to this event, right? Well, we left her cap and gown. So I ran home, grab her cap and gown, get to the school, and I'm running late. They're all lined up going into the building, all the graduates. And I'm like looking for my wife. I spot her, park the car, run to her, hand her her stuff, tell her, okay, I'll be right back. You know, I got to go grab some other stuff for you and I'll meet you inside. I turn around and I literally run smack dab into this other lady.
Ooh.
Like, I mean, crash, right? And I'm like, I step back and she's familiar. I'm like, who are you? She's looking at me like, are you a stalker? Right? It's one of the gals who was at the interview panel who interviewed me. She's graduating same day as my wife. They're in the same program, dude.
Small world.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not a stalker, you know? So we have a little bit of small talk. I run back to the car, grab the stuff, go in and have the ceremony. They're sitting like 2 seats apart from each other. Had no idea. They'd already taken some courses together. They're in the same exact program, going through the same exact classes. It's pretty small, weird world.
Somehow maybe the last name never was mentioned or between them, like, you know, because she would have been like, wait, Brighton Salsey? Dustin Salsey?
Yeah,
Are you related?
There's not a whole lot of Salsies on this planet. But yeah, it was just weird stuff. Well, in most of the classes that Brighton has done have been online. Uh-huh. So a lot of times she doesn't even have to leave the house. Just recently has she had to go a couple nights a week, and the next program will be in school. So, but yeah, it's been wild. It's been a wild time.
It's a packed May.
Yeah. It's been packed May, packed April. Been a little wild, but it's good.
That's quite busy.
Yeah. It's not boring. That's
No.
for sure. It's not boring, man.
Those are some massive accomplishments of your family. I mean, my gosh. Hunter graduating, your wife graduating.
Yeah. She's also testing for our niece. Brown belt? I don't know. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I know she's going to test, but for what belt? I don't know.
Don't hold you
Whoops.
accountable for what she's doing.
Yeah. Gosh, what else
cool.
is going on? What else is happening in the world? You know what was really cool, and I didn't save it? After our podcast with Jonathan, he talked a little bit about the conflict in Israel, or the war in Israel.
Correct.
And that was some of the most interesting stuff. And it was after the podcast was over, and I wish I would have saved it. Because, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that much of a world traveler. And I know you've been all over the planet, but
Places.
well, I mean, come on. You've been a few places.
A few places.
But to hear him talk about the war and how, irregardless of what side you take, whether you take Israel or Hamas or whatever, or Palestine, whatever. Just the fact that, like, he was talking about how within an hour, if anywhere inside Israel, you could be at the front lines of the war.
Yes.
And I don't know, it was not shocking, but it was eye-opening to me to hear him speak about that, and like how that was just like, he was talking about it like coffee's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like, yeah, you could literally be at the front line in an hour anywhere from Israel by car. And that was like, dude, you ain't got it so rough. You know what I mean? You think about problems that you have in life, and then you realize, like, could be worse, dude.
Oh, man.
Could be worse. Like, you don't really, like, I don't know about you, but I haven't really had to worry about somebody dropping a bomb on my house. Not since the Cold War was I ever considering that. In the fourth grade, when my teacher was very, very much anti-communist and afraid of the Cold War, and pounded that into our heads, or like you watch the movie The Day After, stuff like that when you're a kid, and it's, that's when I would think about it.
Yeah,
but I haven't really thought about that since. And then to, like, listen to him talk about that, and it's like, man, yeah, that's a reality for some people.
It's always different. Go ahead.
Life isn't so hard. I don't have to worry about that. Thank God. Knock on wood.
I mean, that would be like driving from, like, here to Mount Shasta, the town, or like, oh, there's the front lines, like, right up there. Like,
people are shooting each other, blowing each other up right over
close.
there.
Right over there. Like, it's totally different. It's always interesting and eye-opening, like you said, to get the version of events from people who are on the ground right there, right ground zero.
Yeah.
And you just get a total different story. And, and I have been to Israel, and I mean, this is 10 years ago or 12 years ago now. 12 years ago, I went to Israel and went on, like, not a birthright tour, but like a post-birthright tour, because I'm not Jewish, like I mentioned on the podcast, but I went there with a college group because I was a college student at the time. This group recruited college students to take to Israel and to show them around. And it was really cool to see, like, how different Israel was versus how different it is on the ground, and how it's different than in the media.
Yeah. Now, was that before you were in the military?
That was actually, like, about 2.5 to 3 months after I got out of the military.
Oh, okay. So you had already gone to Kosovo. You'd already gone to
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got out of the National Guard because they were talking about deploying me a third time, and I was like,
I'm kind of done doing that.
yeah, I just want my college money so I can go to film school. Like, I joined for college money.
Hey, we made a deal, buddy.
Yeah. So, but then they were trying to deploy me a third time. And,
Where were you going to go?
at the time, the unit that I went to Afghanistan with was getting slated to be redeployed again to Afghanistan to do the same thing we did the last time. And so the unit that I went to Afghanistan with, they pulled me back in. So I was back at my home unit in Reading. They pulled me out. They pulled me out of the Reading unit because they needed guys or bodies. And so they pulled me out of the Reading unit back into that unit that I went to Afghanistan with. And they're like, "You're going with us." And I was like, "Well, my contract's up in a couple months." No, I'm not.
Time's a ticking, dude.
Yeah. And so I just let my contract run out, and then I didn't have to go. And then their mission or their tour, their deployment ended up getting canceled with the budget cuts in California by Jerry Brown at the time. So if I would have stayed in, then I would have not had to have gone.
But you didn't know that at the time.
I didn't know that at the time. And so I got out, and then I was already in film school at that time. And then I got out and then got on the trip to Israel. And it was so cool going to Israel.
Yeah,
and
I
just
bet.
seeing that area.
So do you...
I have a special place for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome. Do you think the fact that you had already gone to Kosovo and Afghanistan, do you think that would have changed your experience a little bit had you not been to those other places
And
gone to Israel?
Like Israel, would have been the first time I was out of the country.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's a good question. It might have. That's a really good question. I think having had that experience of my 2 tours overseas and then going to Israel versus if I hadn't been in the military, hadn't gone overseas, and then going to Israel, I still think my eyes would have been opened either way.
Yeah.
But there was a certain sense of camaraderie, like when we went to Israel and we went to the Golan Heights and all these different areas, and I got to see. We literally went right up to the border of Lebanon. I mean, I'm talking. I could have thrown a rock into Lebanon, and
started an international conflict.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I wouldn't have done that, but
No,
and so we go there and we're escorted by these Israeli Defense Force soldiers, and it was just cool. I got to talking with them, and a lot of them spoke English, and just there's a sense of camaraderie with them being military, and I was military, and then just they're stationed on the border of their country, and I will identify Israel as their country.
Yeah.
And they're on the border, and then them serving their country, me serving my country, and I was just like, oh wow, soldiers are kind of the same all around the world. And I experienced that in Afghanistan with Afghanistan military. ANA, Afghan National Army soldiers, and also other soldiers. I trained with so many different nations soldiers in Kosovo because there was so many soldiers from different countries that those countries put their soldiers in Kosovo to maintain that province. It was a province at the time. I believe is the correct word. It wasn't a country. Kosovo wasn't a country at the time. They hadn't declared their independence from Serbia. Yeah, and so they declared their independence from Serbia in 2008 or something. They became their own country. And so before that, it was just a chunk of Serbia that was occupied by all these NATO forces. And so, yeah.
So they're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. So anyway, soldiers that I met in Kosovo and Afghanistan, they were all we got the same characteristics. And so it's really cool to talk to those Israeli soldiers there and just talk to them. So yeah, so it was very eye-opening, and like you said, with talking with Jonathan, it was very much a eye-opening experience to talk to somebody who's like right there. And he was saying, he's going around and helping out in his country with the war, they call it.
Well, which makes sense. I mean, it's your home.
Yeah, it's your home. I mean, when your home is taken, well, I mean, what else is there to defend when your home is gone, right? Like, what do you defend after that point?
Yeah.
I mean, your life, yeah. But if you don't have a home to go to, it's like...
Well, it's your place where you exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of reminded me of like, next time you complain, like my internal dialogue was like, buddy, the next time you have a hard day, next time you complain about something, the next time you feel all whiny, you don't have nobody dropping bombs on you. You don't have anybody that wants to shoot you. At least I don't think so. There might be a couple, but in all reality, like, how bad do you really have it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was my big lesson, I think, for the week.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, we could order, DoorDash. You can have McDonald's delivered to your house these days. Like, how bad do we...
There's a 7-Eleven on like every other corner. You can get pretty much whatever junk food you want.
Yeah, you can DoorDash from junk food from 7-Eleven. Like, how bad do we really have it? Like, like...
Yeah.
No, and I think those... talking to Jonathan and hearing like what he says, that's something that... it really puts it into perspective.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I just recently, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I get to work early and kind of like write in my journal and get myself ready for the day kind of thing, And I was listening to this Iraq war veteran who, the glass factory. Are you familiar with this? So it was a place where they were like training a bunch of Iraqi civilians to be police officers. And a suicide bomber detonated an explosive device and killed a bunch of people, wounded a bunch of people. And this was a Marine who was providing security. And I don't know all the details, but basically like mismanagement kind of thing, like the wrong plan. They were there for like 4 consecutive days from the same time doing the same thing with a ton of people. They had like hundreds and hundreds of people there. And he's like, it was just a security nightmare. And like everyone kind of knew it, but that's what the agenda was basically. Anyway, he gets wounded and like bad wounded. Broke both his femurs, his hip, just mangled. He's okay. He's survived and he's not without his challenges, obviously. But I was like, man, that ain't bad. It could be so much worse. I still have all my faculties. I think, I got the use of my legs. I got the use of my arms. It's good to be reminded sometimes of like how good we have it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think that's a good point right there. I think that's a good topper on this subject. We're blessed. Life is good. Life is good. All right. Anything else you want to add, or I think we're good there.
I don't know. We're just we're coming up on. I mean, we're right knocking on the door of episode 100.
Yeah. That's a thing.
That's a thing. We're here at episode 99, which is the last of the double digits.
Yeah.
We're never coming back to double digits for Formless Podcast.
Unless we start counting backwards. Maybe we should do that next.
Oh. That's interesting.
Bad joke.
That's interesting.
What do you think we should do? I was thinking, like, because We have enough subscribers on YouTube. Maybe doing like a live episode.
Oh, I think so. I think that's a good idea.
Let's play with that a little bit.
Does anyone out there have any suggestions? Send us an email at formlesspod@gmail.com or message us and say like, do this or any ideas.
Jump through hoops 100. Of fire. Sharks with laser beams on their forehead. Yeah, anything like that. That would be cool. That'd be cool. I'm open to ideas. I think we should do something like that. It'd be fun.
Something. I mean, we're now going to be it's a milestone.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a lesson or something.
Ooh. Yeah. Get Sensei Hunter as a graduate.
There we go. Make him teach us. We'll do it live. Stick the camera right here.
Hey, Hunter, I heard all about that great speech you gave on the podcast. Now you're going to give a great lesson.
Yeah.
Send us your ideas and what you think, and we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hopefully be a little bit of a party.
Every day's a party, man. Oh, friends, if you liked what you heard so far, keep listening because we're going to keep going. We got a Facebook page, Formless Pod, Instagram, Formless Pod, YouTube, Formless Pod, and you can also email us, as Tyler said, formlesspod@gmail.com. We have a website called, you guessed it, theformlesspod.com. All of our info is on there, as well as merch, tapestries, hats, shirts, sweaters, book bags, grocery bags, coffee mugs, you name it. It's on there. Till next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Hopefully the skies are blue wherever you are.